be switched on 24/7. You can't miss it, because if you miss it, another salesperson from a different company is going to get it. And then, boom, that prospect's gone. It's exactly the same. If you are so used to picking up, kicking, picking up, kicking, picking up, kicking, then at the end of the day, all of a sudden, you don't read the situation in front of you, regardless of what they're saying or what they're saying afterwards. Yeah, they probably analyze it afterwards and they realize, oh, shut. Everybody was flat. There was nobody at the back, or everybody's at the back. Nobody is flat. Why would you kick then? Because then they're going to run back and feedback at you. It's a silly mistake. And also, I think it's to me, there's only one big problem at the moment, and that I played in that position myself, contrary to what my physique looks like at the moment. But I was in the number 10 jersey, and there's a reason why the person who has a more sort of an overview of what's happening in the game is in that position or carrying that jersey. Your responsibility is to make the quick decisions, and you have to be sharp. And unfortunately, our number 10, great player, fantastic player, awesome rugby player, at the moment is without any confidence. He would not a year ago in a similar situation kick the ball if he was aware of the fact that there was a scrum advantage. Because if you have a scrum advantage, you keep the ball, you don't kick it away, because then your advantage is over. So silly mistakes like that, it could have resulted in exactly the opposite. It could have resulted in the 2016 win for us if that was just the case. You just play the forwards, keep the ball, play for time, play down the clock, and then you milk a penalty, which is exactly what they did, because we were stupid. That's as simple as that. And we can't argue that. And I'm glad that they said that they hurt, because they should hurt, because it's an idiot mistake. Anyway, thankfully, Man City also came to the party. I don't think Chelsea played well. Messi scored his first goal for PSG last night against Man City, so that's good. Brentford played out of their socks, and it was actually quite nice to see that there are some solid competition among a lot of teams in the Premier League football. So there's lots of us to, and there's many other things to be thankful for. So I think at this point, people, in final preparation, as I said, I'm not sure. I didn't watch the clock to see how many people joined or at what times you joined the session. But I said at the start that chapter 7 and 8 we'll cover in revision today, 9 and 10 tomorrow. And then on Friday, you're more than welcome to be here for the first period, 8 o'clock. If you want to just check in, I will be online. Don't worry about that. But if there's anybody who has any final questions that they want to ask about the test, provided that nobody has written the test at that point. Now, obviously, I'll check on Cadence to see if somebody has written. I am going to be there first period, 8 o'clock on Friday morning, just to give you some final tips and put the mind at ease and relax everybody. But we won't do the fifth period because I want you to focus on preparing and writing your test.
Maybe we should just do the test. Maybe we should just do the test live. You know what I mean? It's like a interactive test, you know?
Oral, you mean? No, we unfortunately. Listen, what's one of the other things, one of the biggest challenges that we have realized, I think it was in chapter 5 on time management and self-management. What was one of the lessons that we learned there? Salespeople are very independent. They work under supervision, but nobody's holding their hands. If you're not in office today, we're assuming that you are somewhere seeing a client, making a presentation to a prospect. As long as the numbers at the end of the month, end of the week, targets are made, we're fine. So very often, especially in rural areas and areas that's larger areas to cover, talk about large areas to cover. I learned a very interesting fact this morning. The Northern Cape province of South Africa is larger than the country of Germany, square kilometer wise. Interesting. Anyway, if you have to cover area like the Northern Cape, for instance, I'm not going to say, listen, you've got to be in the office 8 o'clock this morning, check in, go through the routines. I just want to see if everything is fine, and then you can go off and see your clients. You know what? By that time, you should already be at your client in Springbok or in Uppington or wherever in the Northern Cape. Okay, so similarly to the challenges, time management and managing yourself, very important. And I think, having said that, it is important that we also manage our time that is left until we write the test on Friday in that manner. You can write the test, and that's part of self-management. You can write the test anytime during the day. I will not discuss the test on Friday at all, because it's not fair to those who have written it already. That's why the first period, I'm not going to teach a class on what's the fourth period? The first period or the fourth period on Friday? I'm not exactly sure. Let me just double check quickly. Fridays are usually, where are we now? Fridays we usually have class the first period, and then again, yes, where are we now? I've got no Fridays in my book because we didn't have class last Friday, the first and the fourth. So I will be available on and online for the first period, 8 o'clock. But the fourth period you guys can take off and either write a test or Andre's back. Either write a test or prepare for the test. Okay. Only one thing that you have to remember about Friday's test: don't start after 10 o'clock on Friday evening, because then you'll run out of time. Okay. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do chapter 7. I'm going to breeze through chapter 7. My hard drive crashed on Thursday just before the long weekend. It was my last class for the day. It fell out of my bag, and that was it. So I've lost some work, fortunately, and there are weeks' work that I haven't saved onto my PC, but therefore I haven't used the same format as our revision for the first 6 chapters. But I'll do chapter 7. And then quickly just give yourself an opportunity to reposition yourself in your seats, maybe quickly get a glass of water or a cup of coffee, and we'll go into chapter 8 immediately, and we'll finish at 1:45. We'll finish a bit earlier. We'll go through the break today, and we will finish a bit earlier so you guys have extra time to relax. Maybe a longer break before this period or that period and the next one, or maybe an earlier finish for the day. But at this point of the week, with the looming test on Friday, I think it's time management by each of you is very important, and is going to contribute more than anything else to your preparation. Right. This chapter is about your sales approach, the pre-approach, what happens in that time just before you see a client. When you're making an appointment, make an appointment by phone, please, especially to new customers. If it's an old customer and they've been with you for a while, then it's fine. You probably can just pop in and they'll be fine, provided that they're obviously not busy. And the reason why we say this is because time is valuable to the customer as well as to the seller, and therefore respect each other's time. And if you make a surprise visit to a customer, a regular customer, and they're not available, that's fine. I mean, don't throw your toys, because I mean, if you want undivided attention from a customer, make an appointment. Okay. Right. Never get a second chance to make a first impression. You actually do. Your first impression is the first time you pick up the phone and speak to a customer. That's first impression, but that's a non-contact first impression. That is a phone call first impression. You can lose it there, but if you don't, you might still lose it when you do your presentation, your actual face-to-face meeting, or your Skype or Zoom first presentation meeting. People, remember, it's extremely important, that first impression. It's also important to make it, and we've discussed this when we did chapter 7, make the appointment with the right person. You don't want to get there and then you actually still have to, you do a presentation and yep, the person is happy, but you have to come back and repeat it because he wants to get the rest of the directors involved as well. Make sure that the person that you are contacting and setting the appointment up for or up with is actually the right person and would be the person that, or if it's more than one, then at least if the person, and that's information that you can collect on the phone. If the person says to you, listen, it's fine, I'm 100% happy, I'm available on that day, I would like you to come do a presentation for us. Do you mind if I actually include and invite 3 or 4 of our other board members as well? That's fine. I mean, you would encourage that. It means that you don't have to repeat that same presentation 5 or 6 times with different people. And it knows everybody that will be in a position of authority to make it a decision is actually there. That's where you step up your game, because you only have one shot at often at opportunities like that. Right. Very important, the second one. As I said, as I'm going through the slides, this is not new to you. These are not new slides. It's just I'm highlighting certain important aspects again. Okay, I can at this point also interrupt myself for those. Maslatu, Saliso, Tarkwan, Andre, and Caitlin, who's in class. Pay attention to what you did in your assignment as well. Okay, pay attention to what you did in your assignment as well. The assignment is available to you. No feedback yet, no results yet, because it's going through a process of moderation. And the moderator said to me that she'll be done this week, so I can give you feedback from Monday onwards. Don't focus on that now anyway, because you've got a test on Friday. But I want to also point out that when you do your preparation for a test or an exam, also revisit your assignment, because there are questions in your assignment that's asked about certain aspects of the work already, which is within the 10 chapters that you have to cover for Friday anyway. Okay, so just revisit those. It is important that you do that. It's part of your preparation. When you're making a call to make an appointment, make friends with the prospects organization. Make friends with the right person there, the person that's going to give you the foot in the door. Okay. Make an appointment over the phone. Select the right time, and we've identified that that's very difficult, because there really isn't a right time, because at some point you will, regardless of what time you phone, you will still it will still be inconvenient. But make sure that at least you don't call in the first hour of business of a day. If the business opens at 8 o'clock, you'd rather not phone them in the first hour. That's usually when they get very busy and they plan for the day and they get through things that hasn't been done yesterday. And also the last hour of the day. Last hour of the day, they are rushing to finish things so they don't have to do it tomorrow. And the time would obviously be very limited if you at all get a chance. Okay, so try and avoid the first hour and the last hour of a day when you're phoning a customer to make an appointment. Right, yes, buyers are busy as well, just like salespeople. Make sure that you prepare properly, so the presentation is at least worth the time that they're sacrificing. Select the right place. Yeah, again, there's no hard and fast rule. It's what works best for the particular customer. Give the customer options. If you have planned properly and you know what the day and the week of a customer looks like, it's easier to come up with suggestions. If the customer makes a suggestion, that's the one that you will take. Often it would be at the prospect's office or business. They feel more comfortable there. They don't have to go anywhere to meet somebody, unless obviously you are selling something that you cannot move or cannot move easily. Okay, I'm going to a gym. I want to demonstrate this new treadmill. It's easier for the customer then to come to the factory showroom, for instance, to see how the product functions, or to meet at a gym where the product is already being used. Then you trying to get a treadmill into your car or a fender trailer or whatever means of transport you're going to use. Plan the sales call. Plan, 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 plan. Can't repeat that often enough. I'm going to highlight one point there, second from the bottom. Planning helps the salesperson to remain flexible. If you plan, it means that you have more than one plan. You do not have like the box, just the plan A. You also have a plan B and C. But not just that, you know when to use plan B and C or which plan to use. So when I say prepare, it doesn't mean memorize something and prepare a particular speech or presentation. Prepare a variety, because you do not know what is really waiting for you, and you have to be adaptable. And it's easier if you have planned or have prepared more than one option and therefore are flexible. This, I think, was in your assignment. Yep. Steps in the planning of a sales call. That's why I say revisit your assignments or assignment. Setting sales call objectives. Make sure that with any objective, and people sometimes, and I had a chat with another group this morning. Again, we were discussing the differences between objectives, strategies, and tactics. Objectives is just another word for goals, right? The goal you want to achieve is exactly the same as the objective you want to achieve. And whenever you set objectives, regardless if it's for a presentation or if it's for a sales call like we have on the screen, you have to apply the SMART principle. Make sure that the goal that you set is specific, is measurable, is achievable, is realistic, and that you have indicated a time within which it needs to happen. I want to increase my sales by 5% in the next year, or by the end of this year, or within my first year of business. Is that measurable? Yes, I can measure it because I have set a goal, and I will have strategies and budgets that I can look at the end of the year to see if my sales have increased by 5%. It's also if it's not realistic, we'll find out very quickly when we start working towards it, if it's achievable or not. Is it achievable? What's the going trend in the industry? What does the projections show? What rate's the economy growing at? Make sure that it's obviously in line with that for it to be and to remain achievable and realistic. Is it measurable? Yes, it is measurable. Is it time bound? Yes, we said we need to have the increase by the end of the year or within the first year of our business. So there's a time frame and it's realistic. It meets the SMART principles. Whenever setting goals and objectives, make sure that you apply the SMART principle. Gathering information as much as you can. There are so many ways that we can gather information. We have an entire chapter on it, I think, later on in the book. But make sure that you have at least those information, or that information that the diagram on the screen shows you on your customer. Okay, that's the kind of information that you need in advance when you're doing your planning. Right, when you're doing dealing with businesses where there are more than one person involved in the decision-making process, make sure that you get more information on the organization. And then obviously visit those websites that provide you with access of this information. And you'll find most of this information is already on the website of the business. Develop a profile on the prospect. Once you've got all this information, you must have everything. I said you must be like the FBI. You must have a docket on everybody, because the more information you have, the better prepared you will be. The better prepared you are, the more confident you will feel when you pick up that phone to make the appointment, when you get in your car and drive to the customer to do the presentation. Make sure that you include in your profile what the core benefit is that the prospect is looking for, because that is what you are focusing on. Remember, features, advantages, and benefits. We're focusing on selling the benefit, because if we sell the benefit, the customer sees value in what we are offering, and they will most likely purchase that product because it will satisfy a need that they have. When you're developing the presentation, make sure that you apply the AIDA concept. In other words, it must attract the attention of the prospect. They must, as a result of that, be interested based on how much it attracted their attention. And that should create a desire for them to want more information, and hopefully then it leads to the action of them actually buying the product. Attention, interest, desire, action. That's the AIDA model. When you're doing your preparing for your presentation, remember we're still preparing for the presentation, make sure that you do the following: that you use sufficient amount of technology. It's all good and well, and you can do laser shows and people popping out of cakes and flying through the roof and whatever. It's very impressive. It's very Mission Impossible 007 like type of. You know what, in the day, if the person after the whole presentation doesn't know what you're selling, which can often happen because overuse of too many sideshows and technology and is sometimes not the right approach. But you will know how much you should use if you have prepared properly, if you have enough information on your customer, and if you have developed a profile on your prospect, of your prospect. Right, this is the end of chapter 7. No time to go to sleep yet, as that picture indicates. Salespeople don't sleep. Quickly go take a break. I'm just going to upload chapter 8. I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to stay live. I'm actually even going to, I'm not even going to stop the recording. I'm just going to change and upload chapter 8.
Yaka, I'm just going to log out and log back in because I can't see the presentation. Somehow it's not loading. So I'm just going to log out and log back in. Okay.
No problem. I'll upload chapter 8. Right, Andre, are you better? Can you see the screen? Can you see chapter 8?
It's busy loading. I'll see now if I can see it. I'm just going to step out quickly and then I'll be back now.
Okay. This should take us 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, people, to finish chapter 8. Anybody, while we're waiting to restart chapter 8, everybody good? Any questions that you have at the moment? Sean, you all good? Teresa, everybody? Sorry, I'm scrolling down. I've missed a few things. Right, people, I'm going to resume the session or continue with the session. We are on chapter 8 of the 10 chapters that I'm quickly revising. And remember, this is not new work. This is the same work that you've done. I'm going through it at a faster pace because I'm just picking on certain specific elements on each slide that I want to just discuss. If I see relevance, I will discuss it. If it's something very important, I'll discuss it for a bit longer. If I don't think it is not unimportant, but not as important as certain aspects or other aspects, then I might just skip a slide. Okay, so take it in that context. You still have to prepare everything from chapters 1 to 10 for your test on Friday. Right, chapter 8. Chapter 8 is about the sales approach methods, what different methods we can use. It also tells you what FAB is, features, advantages, and benefits, and the sell sequence. We'll see that, my apologies, at the end of the chapter. Right. Yes, you only have one opportunity to make a first impression. Salespeople do. So make sure that it's a good one. What's an approach? Approach is the time from the salesperson first sees the buyer until you're beginning to discuss the product. Okay, it might be the time that you're sitting waiting in the reception area, but when you arrive for your appointment, maybe they're busy with the previous appointment, they're finishing off. You get up, secretary says he's finished, you can go in now, sir. From that time, it's the approach. That's first impression. This is where the confidence that you ooze, how you are dressed, if you dress professionally, how you present yourself, how you greet, everything. This is all part of the approach. Now, let's look at different approaches. There can be the introductory approach. You state your name and say, I'm from the such and such company, and this is why I'm here. Simple, straightforward, to the point. Complimentary. Oh, welcome, sir. How are you doing? Oh, you look very nice today. That looks very nice on you. Or, wow, what a good office, sir. Maybe you pick up something on the wall. Oh, I didn't know you were a Blue Bull supporter as well. If you see a photo of a Currie Cup winning Blue Bulls team on the wall or something like that. Oh, I see. You're also a Man United supporter. People pick up on things like that. Compliment, break the ice. Those are icebreakers, but it's also very nice. People react very well to compliments, and it usually sort of works very well to break the ice. The referral approach. Tell them that you are here because you were referred to them by so-and-so. And then obviously if they say, I don't know someone like that, then oops a daisy, then you have a problem. So prepare a plan for that. But usually they say, oh yes, I can remember, yeah, he was my roommate at varsity. We are still very good friends. Yeah, we actually brought them at their place last weekend. Those kind of referrals, people, that's when you use them. But this is why your planning is so important. Okay, you don't want to get your facts wrong, and then the person doesn't even know that particular person you're talking about. Okay, do the product approach. Okay, use the actual product as part of the conversation. Put it out on the table. Let them look at it. Let them touch it. Let them pick it up, and if it's possible. Okay, if it's a wall-mounted desk like that, then obviously where it is fitted to the wall so they can see how it works is actually best. But let them see how it works. Do the product approach. That's very helpful in combination with others. Sometimes you change from one approach to the other, right? You actually introduce yourself and say, hi, I'm so-and-so from that and that, and you actually put the product on the table. Then you've actually combined the first approach with your product approach, with your introduction approach, with the product approach. Customer benefit or question approach. Okay, make a statement or ask a question, and that usually implies that the prospect will be benefiting from using the product. Okay, like for instance, I can see that your office is very impressive, but you definitely don't have a lot of space here. I mean, that's hopefully something that we can address today, because I'm actually here to do a presentation to you on how you can actually our products can actually save you a lot of space in smaller areas. Sometimes businesses want to scale down now, especially after COVID or during COVID. Not a lot of businesses are actually they're cutting down on commercial office space. People are working from home. They're using staff, not all the staffs at the office at the same time, so they need less space. But you can also use this very successfully, this approach of asking the customer or informing the customer through a question of the benefits of the product that they can expect to receive a presentation on. Then also you can use the opinion approach or the shock or dramatic approach. For instance, the product that we have there is from a product range from a company who sell natural supplementary products, vitamins, performance or quicker recovery products. That specific one is a product that will help you with losing weight and managing your stress levels, ensuring that you get sufficient omega-3, good omega-3s in your diet. It's supplementation, people. And again, supplementation is exactly what it says. It supplements. It's like a replacement running onto a field in a sports game to replace the injured person. It's a substitute. He's replacing that person. A supplement is in addition to the food that you eat. You can't just be on supplements and expect to get all the nutrients and vitamins that you should get in. Okay, so sometimes with a specific fact, if you open with that and you have that dramatic sort of shock approach, it can actually be very successful. Again, the approaches, people, there's no one that is better than the other. There is an appropriate one for the product that you are selling, the industry you are working in, and the profile of the customer that you are selling to. You find the right balance there and you are certain products you just cannot use certain approaches for. Okay, so make sure that the approach that you take is appropriate for the product that you're selling and the customer that you are presenting to. What is the sales presentation? Now, this is where everything comes together, and this is basically a vocal and a visual explanation of an organization's products or services that they offer. Quite simple. Different sales presentation methods. You can have something memorized, you can have a specific formula, you can have a need satisfaction approach. There could be a stimulant response and a problem solving one, as well as a group presentation. And let's quickly breeze through each of these. Memorized, very rigid, doesn't leave the prospect with sufficient opportunities to actually give input. It's very robotic, and you have prepared something and you are making a speech and that's it. Not the right way to do. The customer very, very quickly realizes that this is a over prepared, memorized repeat maybe of a presentation that you do to all your customers. The greatest advantage of this is that if you are selling a product that the profile of customer is very much similar, it means that repeating is actually better and you become more confident and better in it because you repeat it. The same information is also presented to all the clients. So everybody gets the same information, okay? But as I said, yeah, it depends on the type of product. You can also have the formula presentation. This is slightly less structured. Initially, you dominate the first part of the presentation, then you allow opportunities for questions by the customer, and then you basically reply to that and you continue with your presentation. Very flexible, a very popular method to use because there are there's more interaction between the buyer and the seller, which is one of the advantages that you see on the screen there. Similarly to this, there are disadvantages. It's not really very adaptable, but again, it works in most cases. The need satisfaction presentation, okay, definitely more flexible. Again, if you've prepared properly, then you will know what the need of the customer is. It means that you will be presenting a solution to that problem that they have, and the form of a product that will satisfy that particular need. Very good approach or method to use when you're selling technical or industrial products that needs a lot of demonstration and explanation. Just be careful. There may be occasions where the prospect does not want to disclose certain information, and that makes it you'll pick up if it's uncomfortable, if it but again, you would have the ability after a while, and you become more experienced, to read situations correctly. Problem solving presentation. If you can solve a problem, very good, often here combined with the demonstration of something. Somebody says, but oh, I can see that. I mean, these stains on your carpets. Yes, man, we've been. Oh, my dad actually was working for a company called Brightchem. They were selling industrial cleaning products, and he eventually started in the Western Cape, and then he had some clients up in Johannesburg, and eventually turned out to actually service the key customers nationally. And very often he gets to a school hall and they say, "Wow, geez, I can say we never." I mean, we had a function here on Saturday. We polished the floors of the hall immediately first thing Monday morning for the hall ceremony on Tuesdays, and we've just look, it's dirty again. It's because they keep on putting polish on polish on polish on polish, and basically in a situation like that, it's very easy to say, listen, sir, we've got a solution here, and this is this and this. Let me just quickly, do you mind? I'm going to just do a 2x2 square and show you how it works. Boom, boom, boom. That's a problem solving. They've told you what their problem is, and you are presenting them with a solution. Do this when you have very good product knowledge and you know the products that you are selling very well. The range of products. Because if somebody says, this is my problem, and you say, oh, jeez, okay, what I'm selling today is not going to solve that problem. Then you want to know, then you want to lose. Okay, then you are not going to be able to solve that person's problem. Then you're going to end up trying to sell them something just to make a sale that they don't need, and that's not going to solve their problem. That's actually just going to create more problems. Okay, know your products very well when you take this approach. Your group presentation, obviously, as I said earlier on, is very helpful if you have more than one decision maker, and it prevents you from having to repeat it. And if we look at the advantages and the disadvantages, is that you are now presenting to the entire group of individuals that are going to be making the decision. Sorry. The finance person is there, the HR person is there, the IT person is there. They can all ask questions related to their specific departments, because one individual like the CEO is not going to necessarily have all the questions that they want to ask to the salesperson. Okay. The nice thing, obviously, is that you get everybody's input and everybody's questions. Right. Let's look at FAB. We know that FAB is the one that we have to, the FAB sequence is the one that we prefer to use. In other words, we must know the features of the product and the advantages that each feature has. But more importantly, we must know the benefit that the customer is going to get from this product, because we're going to lead with the benefit because we know the features and their advantages. The sell sequence, what's the sell sequence? It's just a process that helps the salesperson to highlight the benefits of a particular prospect. You show the feature, explain the advantages, you lead into the benefits that you can get, and then you let the customer talk. Okay, that's what the sell sequence is. It's not a different method to FAB. FAB is just to tell you that the things that you need to know is the features, advantages, and benefits. How you actually sell those features, advantages, and benefits is through the sell sequence. That makes sense to everybody? People, we've done chapter 7 and chapter 8. We've got chapter 9 and chapter 10 to go tomorrow. I'm going to see you again tomorrow, Thursday. Let me just check and see. Thursday, we have the 7th and the 8th period tomorrow. We again should probably just take 10-15 minutes short of the double period, which will allow you enough time to then still go out and prepare for your test on Friday, because you would have covered all 10, or we would have covered all 10 chapters in revision for you to give yourself the best chance possible on Friday. Just to summarize and finalize the session for today before I stop the recording and say goodbye. People, there's nothing that will surprise you in the test. I don't draft tests and treat them as an attempt to try and shock you or surprise you or come with certain angles. It's straightforward. And like I said earlier today to another group, this morning on the way on the breakfast show on the way in. There was the KFM breakfast show has a competition just before 7 o'clock. You phone in, or they phone you after you've entered the competition. They select your number, they phone you, you answer 10 questions within 60 seconds and you win 10,000 Rand. But only if you answer all 10 correctly. For every answer you get correctly, you get 100 Rand. Anyways, those in the Western Cape probably know the competition. And this morning a teacher came phoned in again. He didn't do well, he got 4 out of 10. They asked him afterwards, was he nervous? He says yes, he was, but also he said that he probably didn't have enough time, because when he prepares his students for a test, he does 3 things. There's 3 things that they have to know. Read the question, and read the question. Those are the 3 things. And I think that is important. And the reason why I say this is, and I give it as feedback from students that have written tests already this week. Don't waste, it is an open book. Don't waste time on writing too much. If I ask you to name the 5 steps or the 4 steps in the sales planning process, name them. That's all. That's 5 words in 4 lines. Nothing more. If I ask you to explain, people, also explain to me. The challenge lies in the fact that when it's an open book, you have all the information available to you, and you sometimes read too much and write too much in your answer. I know that sometimes it's better than leaving it blank, but you can write too much and waste time. Okay. Read the question once. Read the question twice. Now I've got a better understanding of the question. Read the question another time, because now you're focusing on the operative words like provide, describe, explain, list, name, suggest. Those are words that tell you what you have to do. And that's what you do. Okay. And I've said it many times, and I'll repeat it again, and I will tell you again tomorrow, and I will tell you again on Friday morning. Look at the mark allocation. I had a student who said to me, oh, I didn't know we have to write 5. Oh, shucks, 5. Yeah, sure. I saw that it was 15 marks. What does the mark allocation show to you? 5 times 3. Okay, so you need to name all 5 and you get 3 marks for each, because you have to describe and explain it to me. Okay, so let the mark allocation lead you. I've said it many times and I'll repeat it. It is important, and it's the best tool that you will ever get in a question. It will tell you exactly how much you need to write. Anybody, any questions at this point? Shall we call it a Wednesday? Any questions? Talk when you're good. Teresa? All good?
All good, sir.
Thank you very much. We'll chat again tomorrow. Slatsu, you good? Andre is fine. Andre says let's call it a Wednesday. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody. I'll stop recording and I'll upload this for you to watch later. Have a nice Wednesday afternoon. Thanks, Teresa. Always a pleasure.